Three Clemson defenders would be first round picks if every college player was draft eligible today. We'll talk about that and much more right here on Locked on Clemson.
You are Locked on Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Tiger fans? Morgan Thomas here, Clemson fan, Clemson grad, host and producer of Locked on Clemson, part-time host and producer over on 105.5 FM, The Roar. Thank you so much for making Locked on Clemson your first listen every day. We're part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. And if you're new to the show and you like the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. If you're listening over on YouTube, you can follow and subscribe over there as well. Thank you so much for participating and being a part of the show and listening every single week. You know how Locked on does it here Monday through Friday. We have a new episode for you every single week when it's all about your Clemson Tigers. So hopefully you're enjoying it so far. Here now, I'm halfway through my third month. And don't forget to follow me over on X at the Morgan T Show so you can keep up with me in between episodes and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about over there. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Coming up on today's show, we'll talk about Pro Football Focus's fantasy first round draft that they came out with recently, and they have a lot of Clemson elite talent and defenders on that list for being in the first round if everybody was eligible right now, which is crazy to think of. And then we'll also get a look at talk about Tom Allen and how he's changing the defense and what some players have been saying publicly about the change on defense. So a lot of Clemson football this episode. Hopefully you're loving it. We've got some basketball last episode. If you forgot about that or you didn't listen to that, go check out the last episode as well. And then last week, if you missed any of those, we have a ton of content over there where we talked about the spring game and my thoughts from that. So let's get this rolling here. Clemson has three, you heard that right, 3 first rounders that are still in college that are not eligible right now per se for this NFL draft coming up. But Pro Football Focus feels like they could be first round draft picks right now if they were eligible. And, to me, that's not just hyping this up. That's not just me being a Clemson fan and kind of, pitching my team over all the others. But this is Pro Football Focus and what they think right now based on who is on the roster across all of college football. So they did like a hypothetical 2025 NFL draft where basically every player was eligible. And I guess, you kind of do this when it's the off season and you kind of struggle to figure out what you're going to talk about. But I thought it was interesting because, it's not just guys that are ready to go to the NFL or out of eligibility. It was literally anybody was available. And Clemson would put in, according to them and what they think right now, Clemson would put in Peter Woods, TJ Parker, and Avieon Terrell in the first round of the NFL. That's pretty elite right there to say that they already have guys that are kind of showing what they can do right now in college and could be in that next level. Now, for me, my first thought was Peter Woods really wasn't shocking to me. I thought that Peter Woods was going to be one of the best players that Clemson was going to have. I think everybody was out there felt like he was a highly rated recruit. And so not shocking Peter Woods. TJ Parker really was kind of, exceeding expectations from his, I guess you could say like recruiting ranking maybe, but he still was a highly recruited guy. So it's not a shocker there. And then Avieon Terrell, to me, I think a lot of people felt like maybe he wouldn't be as good as his brother, and maybe he's not. I don't know. I'm not comparing him with his brother right now because he still has time. And his brother was a great player for sure for Clemson and has done done well in the NFL as well. But to be a first round draft pick, that was kind of one I felt like was a little bit of a stretch, but they had him kind of towards the end. So maybe that's where they kind of make up for it. But Avieon Terrell had a great season last season. As long as he can stay healthy, I think that he can definitely fight for that. Now, the cornerback position is one that is highly sought after. The defensive line position with Peter Woods and TJ Parker also highly sought after in the NFL. So they play key positions that, elite NFL teams and professional teams want. More players and they can't have enough of them. Right. So Clemson still has guys on the team to get into the NFL and in the first round of the NFL, which is even bigger because that helps you for years down the road, just continuing to show what you can do year in, year out to get guys into the NFL and guys from the defensive line and from the cornerback position. It helps Mike Reed out. It helps Eason and Rump out when they're going on the recruiting trail. So I really like this, and I don't disagree. Now they have Peter Woods going 17th overall to the Cincinnati Bengals, which, I mean, this is all hypothetical anyway. So to me, it really doesn't matter exactly who they go to, but just the fact that you would be in the top half or in the middle of the first round of the NFL. He's not just an elite athlete, in my opinion. Peter Woods is more than a raw elite athlete. He is a technician. I think he knows exactly what to do. He can be plug and play anywhere. Now we know that we'd rather have him on the defensive interior, but he's a guy who is versatile and can move around. Has a great run defense grade from Pro Football Focus in the past 2 seasons. He's got NFL ready strength. When he was coming out of high school, a lot of analysts were really, kind of negative on his arm or his wingspan. And that seems to be a non-factor, to be honest with you. Now, I know the NFL is really big on measurables as well, but I think that Peter Woods is just scratching the surface. If you can get him coupled in with guys that can take the pressure off of him. Now, if he's just him by himself, I think that's where he gets eaten up a little bit. Now, he can eat up multiple blocks and have multiple blockers come against him, but you don't really want that every single game or every single down. You want to be able to have a versatile defensive line that can take that pressure off of him while he can't eat up blocks. Then your other guys have to do something for sure. And then if your other guys are, putting forth their effort, then that gives him the opportunity to get to the backfield as well. And I'm really seeing this from a 2025 perspective, that I hope that this is the year where Peter Woods dominates. Really, I think he is poised to do that. I think Clemson has added in the right pieces around him to help him relieve some of that pressure and some of that stress, and some of the offense is kind of picking on him and really focusing on shoring him up because they weren't stressed out from other parts of the defensive line. So I do think that Clemson will be able to benefit going forward this season with Will Helt and Jeremiah Alexander to kind of put some more pressure on that offensive line. Then second up is TJ Parker. They say he's going to be off the board at 28 at the Detroit Lions. Again, don't really care about who he's going to, although the Lions, I kind of like the Lions. I don't have one NFL team unless you were to tell me like the Jacksonville Jaguars, because I'm going to cheer for Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne. I used to cheer for Deshaun Watson when he was with the Texans, but now that's been a complete disaster. I do cheer for any team that has a Clemson player. And really, I like all the teams because of their uniqueness. There's not one team. Now, I will say, if you ever listen to me on the radio, my joke is that I like the color blue, and I do. That's my favorite color. If I had a Ford Mustang, I would get the color blue. I'd get Detroit Lion blue, and I'd get a Ford Mustang, and that's what it would be. So TJ Parker did to the Detroit Lions. I like that. And, he's an elite edge rusher. He had 12 sacks last season, top grades in pass rushing and run defense. Imagine if you complimented him with Aiden Hutchinson. He's going to get a little taste of that, I think. And I'm not saying Will Helt's going to be that, but he's going to get less pressure now on him because Will Helt's going to be on the other side as well. So those two guys are going to greatly benefit with the improved talent that's on the defensive line. He's already explosive off the edge, and he's already absolutely relentless. A lot of the same qualities that you have in Peter Woods, TJ Parker has that in an edge style. So those two guys, not shocking at all. Avieon Terrell, they have him at 30 to the Buffalo Bills, brother of AJ Terrell. And they actually put down that he's a better run defender than AJ. And, he forces a high percentage of incompletions. We know he's physical. We know all Clemson cornerbacks are going to be physical. They're going to go after the guys, the wide receivers straight up, man to man. They're going to be on islands. And I think that's really, if anything, that helps them prepare even better and develop them even better for the NFL. So it's not fully shocking to me that you would have a cornerback from Clemson that would be drafted in the first round if this was to happen with this class. Thankfully, we get to enjoy another season with Peter Woods and TJ Parker and Avieon Terrell. We don't have to say goodbye to them yet, but I'm sure it's going to happen. So we have to get ready for it. And I'm sure that these guys definitely have an opportunity to be in the first round, which is really, really cool to have another season where Clemson gets 3 first rounders. To me, that is huge for Clemson's legacy, for Dabo Swinney's legacy, and the coaching staff as well. I think my hope overall for Clemson is that they will start to add in some offensive players, like they had the run of a ton of offensive players being in the first round. Clemson has the pieces to also get guys into the first round from the offensive side of the ball. They just have to get all the pieces together at the right time, right? And they have to have those excellent seasons. So while the defensive side is really, even when we've been frustrated last season, they still got a ton of talent over there and elite level talent. I do think the offense will eventually catch up as well. But it kind of goes back to all recruiting and what they've had. And right now, Clemson is very defense heavy. So not shocking to me. The scariest part for the opponents, though, is that these guys are going to be on the team in 2025. So I look forward to seeing what they can do this season. Let me know if you agree or not over on the comments, or go follow me over on X and give me a shout over there and let me know what you think. Is Peter Woods, TJ Parker, and Avieon Terrell the level that they need to be right now to be a first-round draft pick, or do you think that Pro Football Focus is just way off base with this? All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about why Clemson's defense has a new identity and new accountability, and it all wraps around Tom Allen. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Gametime, you can be a part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Gametime makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as the tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Here's why I use Gametime, and it really comes down to that last minute deal. I love getting deals. I mean, I'm all about finding the best deal out there. I don't want to pay full price. And if there's a way where I can find a way to get to the game in the event that I really want to see, so I don't miss that key moment with my favorite team or even the best team in where I live, I can save a ton of money on those last minute deals. Again, 60% off of buying last minute sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever it may be. Really, really cool. And then the all-in pricing means you get no fees at checkout. So you know exactly what you're going to pay. There's no getting all through 5 steps and then all of a sudden, you know, it's $50 more than you thought, or even $100 more than you thought, and you don't even know where that money's going to, because it's definitely not going to your favorite artist or your favorite athlete. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Tom Allen's defense, from what we're hearing, is all gas and no excuses. And honestly, I'm getting older. I say all gas, and sometimes I don't even know what I'm really saying. I'm just trying to be part of the cool crowd, and hopefully you will accept me from saying that word, because, gas prices, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But Tom Allen, at the end of the day, has completely redefined Clemson's defensive culture. And the crazy thing is, he's done it so quickly. It's not taking multiple years. It's not taking all brand new players. He's got the same players that they had last season. Really, they didn't have a ton of turnover, and he's really reset the team and redefined what it's like to be on the defensive side of the ball for Clemson in just one offseason. And really, we still have a ton of time left, because you got the rest of the spring, you got the summer, and then you also get into the fall, where I really feel like, man, I just wonder what kind of information we're going to get and cool nuggets that we're going to get from the fall practices. So to me, I'm kind of walking away from last season. I know there was a lot of frustrations across the fan base about missed tackles, being really soft on the edge and setting the edge almost was non-existent on a couple of, series, and just absolutely blown gap assignments, poor tackling. Offense is chewing up big yards. It wasn't really like a bend, don't break scenario. It was like they were getting chunk plays here and there. That kind of Clemson defense, I think, is gone. Good riddance. See you later. I don't want to ever see that previous defense that was just getting incrementally worse as we continue to go on. Now, a lot of that, and I was talking to my friend today, and a lot of that gets pushed on Wes Goodwin. But these young men need to own it as well. You can say that it's all about the guy that was making all the money and it was a bad coaching hire. And I do believe that was that is a viable reason for some of the issues that we saw. But a lot of it too should fall on the shoulders of the players that were on the field as well. They needed to be more physical. They needed to play faster. They needed to play smarter, and they needed to be held accountable. And I think that maybe that's where the coach can come into place. A coach who is a former head coach, a coach who's been at a Power 5 team and knows what it's like to play at elite level college football and coach at elite level college football. I think that has really helped this team kind of reset very quickly. And I'm not saying that it all falls on Wes Goodwin's shoulders, but I mean, he's going to take the most of the blame because he made all the money, right? But he was put in that position, and there were some things that you could look back and say, wow, he did that pretty well. And some things that you could probably say he exceeded expectations on. But what we're seeing is Clemson is getting back to some basics, getting back to physicality, and being intentional about things. Spring practice was definitely physical from what we heard and what I saw and what you saw in the spring game. I had a couple people say, well, Morgan, in the spring game, it wasn't full. No, I'm telling you, when you watch, if you were like me and you watch little things around the spring game, you don't want to be blinded by, oh, well, it's just a spring game. There were a lot of nuggets, little things. If you watch and you really pay attention, you could kind of see it happening here and there. Even Dabo Swinney has come out and said, Clemson needed to return to this. They needed to return to intentionality in tackling, intentionality in gap defense and discipline, intentionality in execution in the red zone. And Tom Allen seems to have risen to that occasion. He's implemented drills that are going to address not only the fundamentals and the techniques of those things, but also the mindset that you need to have for every single down. He's held not just the players accountable, but the other coaches out there as well. If you have a high level of standard, you're going to get a high level of performance from those around you. And so it can't just be one practice too. And that's one thing that I've tried to work on myself in youth sports is, I want to be a fun coach. I want to be the likable coach, but there's also that part of you that needs to hold people accountable. And you need to say, hey, we have this standard. It's not best is the standard. Oh, shucks, we'll get them next time. It's best is the standard, and we don't accept anything below that. And if we see below that, we're calling it out. And, we've heard accountability here and there thrown around, and some of the most frustrating defenses have had reports of great accountability. But I think that may not have always been the case. And so you have to discern between spring coach speak and truth. But I think you're seeing some of this, and I do believe it. I really do. I think I trust what I'm hearing about Tom Allen and about the new identity, the intensity, the intentionality. It all starts with the head coach. Players are hearing it from day one as Allen moved in. Wade Woodaz said he was really caught off guard with how Tom Allen was pushing them and holding them accountable and really like holding them and demanding that they do better. He was demanding, like, you need to tell me 3 things that you took away from this practice, or you're going to do a bunch of push-ups, and like kind of like a military aspect of things. Like, hey, if you don't remember this training that we just went through, okay, then I'm going to smoke you with a bunch of push-ups till your arms get tired. Actually, how drill sergeants used to say it to me, I'm going to smoke you with so many push-ups until my arms get tired. Well, they're not doing the push-ups, so their arms are never going to get tired. Or, I want to see how much you can push up the earth, right? I'm I love this. They're tracking their accountability. They're tracking their intensity and their intentionality. They're punish laziness is from what I'm hearing. Punishing laziness. It sounds like, well, shucks, Morgan, this is so basic. This is so coaching 101. I can't say why we're at this, but this is where we're at. The standard, maybe it's like this. When I was in the military, they said, when the bullets start flying, you fall back on your training, and your training, a lot of times it can get monotonous. It can be the same thing over and over and over. You feel like you're going through the basics over and over and over. And gets to a point where it's not fun because it's the same thing over and over. But that kind of mentality and that kind of method and technique shows that you have a crystal clear standard, and you continue to hit that until you get it right. And then you keep hitting it more. Key players are not out there right now in practice, but it's working really well with not only those guys that are there, but the guys that are backups that are kind of filling in those gaps. I think that when they get everybody together, when they all get healthy and they come back in the fall, it is going to be a really good opportunity for Tom Allen to kind of just solidify this defense. The result, to me, I'm thinking more cohesion. I'm thinking more detail oriented. Obviously, we said intensity, intentionality, and physicality more than we've seen in many years. And if we don't see it in week one, then I'll definitely be shocked. So then you can come back to me and holler at me if you want. But I think you're going to see it from week one all throughout 2025. And it's going to bring a new level of excellence to Clemson and get back to the best is the standard, get back to what really Clemson and Clemson defense has all been about. All right, hey, I'm going to wrap up the show with the final segment. We're going to talk about why that buy-in from the players like Wade Woodaz is just final proof that Clemson is back when it comes to that elite level of defense. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out and shopping online and entertainment, man, it is easy to lose track. I mean, how much do you swipe your card every single day? And that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, your investments, your spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. I've talked about it many weeks now because I love Monarch Money. I mean, when I started using this, I had no idea how much I was spending money on eating out. And it was really embarrassing. I don't even want to say it. I mean, it was more than, it was like probably my second highest expense over even the groceries. I mean, I'm still going to get groceries and I'm eating out a ton. And it's helping me kind of budget smarter, eat healthier, and be better with my food so I don't lose, with waste, and I can save more money over time. And plus, with me being married, it's great because, your spouse or your partner, you can have a smooth conversation about your finances. You can track and share your accounts. You can set goals together, which is, key, and you can be on the same page with no stress. So there's no like late night after dinner conversations and big uh-ohs because you already know. You're already on the same page. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So when you hear a voice of the player, a voice of the team, like a guy like Wade Woodaz, would you not say he is a guy that's a leader on the team? I would say that. He came out recently and said that the team is revitalized. That's not just intensity. That's not just intentionality and physicality. Revitalization is something different for me. It feels like you've kind of unlocked a new level of play that maybe was hidden there. We may have had it there as a team. We may have had it there, individual players, but Wade Woodaz came out and gave it to us straight. He said he feels, quote, I feel revitalized. The accountability, the buy-in, the energy, it's all different now. Why is accountability so important? I mean, I think accountability is important because it keeps you back to that standard. It allows everybody to be on the same page. You have clear goals, you have clear expectations. Nobody is wondering what is expected of you. And then the rest of your teammates are holding you to that level. If you're making consistent mistakes, or you're not showing up when you need to show up, you're not studying when you need to study, and you're not helping out when you need to help out, that amount of accountability can really cut out any slackers, any laziness, any poor performance from anybody, whether it be the starters, the first line of defense there, or even the backups. The buy-in too. I think the buy-in and the energy, if you are contagious, then winners want to be around winners, right? And people who bring the energy are just going to amplify those around them. Now, not everybody is an extrovert and just, going to lead in that way, but that energy, it can be contagious, and it can even get your introverts involved and allow them to shine, even maybe if they're not the most vocal now. But to me, you've always needed that as a defensive coordinator. I didn't understand Wes Goodwin's hire because, he wasn't that. He was the complete opposite. I wouldn't say he's energy. I do say he's a genius when it comes to football, when it comes to plays and being able to draw up things. But I don't think that being the defensive coordinator and being the leader of the charge was really a role that he needed to be in. Now, a schemer, a play caller, definitely somebody I would trust. But somebody who needs to be out on the field and doing rotations and hyping up the team and being in the, in the huddle, I would say probably not the best idea. Now that we're looking back, Tom Allen is a guy that is going to bring you that new energy, going to bring you that new level of accountability. Everything is different now, is what Wade Woodaz said. Not me, not some talking head analyst here on YouTube and podcast. This is Wade Woodaz saying everything is different now. Now, you can choose to believe that or not. Some of you guys are going to be naysayers out there. Oh, well, Morgan, it's just a spring. No, I'm not telling you. I'm not saying that it's just a spring. No, this is real to me, because this change, we're seeing it, and it's happening now in real time. He's not just a defensive coordinator. Tom Allen is a culture setter, and he's revitalized this team and the veterans, though. Now, the veterans are responding at a high level. Wade Woodaz has been around. He's been in different systems. He knows what's expected of him from a Dabo Swinney standpoint. Now he knows what's expected of him from a Clemson defense and Tom Allen standpoint. He said his first reaction to Tom Allen's practice and his level of intensity was, whoa. I mean, it was louder, faster, more relentless. And it's not a gimmick. It is a real change that we're seeing and we're hearing about when it comes to Clemson's defense. Now, could it all crash and burn? Yeah, sure. We haven't played a game yet. We haven't played one game in the fall yet. But the standard is there. The standard is being enforced. There's daily goals. And like we mentioned in segment 2, there's daily consequences. We don't do that in today's age. Consequences? No, you get another ice cream. Consequences? No, go get another Happy Meal. Go get another toy from the toy store. Go get another plush. Go get another video game. Get another add-on to your video, downloadable content, right? Get more. I'll buy my way to your affection. I'll buy my way to your effort. No, that's not how we should be. We should not be rewarding mediocrity. Daily goals, daily consequences. And I'm speaking to myself. I got daily goals that I'm not hitting, and I need to get out there and I need to give myself some consequences. Honestly, you've got to go through that sort of discipline to be able to reach another level in your life or in your professional adventure, right? Which in this case would be football. If you don't meet certain benchmarks, then you're doing push-ups. And it seems very basic, but I'm telling you, you don't want to be smoked. That's what we used to call it in the military, in the Army when I was in, was you don't want to go get smoked. You'd rather do what you were told. You would rather meet your expectations than getting smoked every day. No longer about just showing up and doing your role and, playing a position or filling a spot. You have to reach your goals. You have to be able to do certain things at each practice and hit these certain benchmarks, or you are going to rep it out with push-ups. And again, I think this is just simple, but I do this in youth sports. You let a ball go between your legs. You don't field a ground ball properly after however many years we've been together. You're going to do a bunch of jumping jacks until you're tired. And then you're going to get another chance to field the ground ball again, now with jello arms, and jello legs. See how well you do then. If you don't like doing jumping jacks, because I don't make the girls do push-ups, make them do jumping jacks. You don't like doing jumping jacks? Well, meet your goals, meet your expectations, right? There'll be consequences if you don't do it. Now, I'm not trying to punish you like to be mean, but I think a lot of that is like the new school way of thinking is every punishment or every consequence has to be because you don't like me. I mean, I can hold you accountable and still love you to death, right? And I think that, honestly, when you hold people accountable, they end up loving you more when you really think about it. If you do so in a respectful way where you're showing that you're doing it out of, you care about them, right? You're not just doing it out of meanness, but you're doing it because you want them to be the best part of themselves that they can be. That's going to gain more respect over time. He's not just juggling the linebacker position either. He can really focus on overseeing the whole unit because you have Ben Boulware out there that can kind of, lead that group. And it's really going to help, I think. And better communication across the groups. That Ben Boulware is a guy, he thrives wherever he's planted, right? I mean, he's got a successful business. He did well at Clemson. And now I just know he's going to do great as a coach for Clemson. And he's going to be able to kind of help fulfill that vision for Tom Allen. The defense is not just hoping to get back to where they were. They have done what they've needed to do and put people in the right spots to get them back to that level of play and that elite level of competition there and performance. So I'm excited about it. Hopefully you've gotten more amped about this Clemson defense. That what's not to love about them, to be honest. So I am really, really looking forward to the 2025 season. Hey, thank you so much for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Locked On NFL Draft with Damon Parson and Keith Sanchez as your favorite collegiate players get ready for the next level. Get the latest draft rankings, rumors, and news every day. Find Locked On NFL Draft on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hey, I appreciate it. That's it for this Tuesday show. I'll see you tomorrow where we'll continue to talk more Clemson athletics. And as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.